The hallway outside room 214 smelled like bleach and burnt coffee. Malik Carter could still hear the last bell fading, the chatter turning to a low roar as students streamed past the trophy case. He stood in the doorway with his binder pressed to his ribs, knuckles white, waiting for Ms. Hargrove to return his AP U.S. History exam. Her heels clicked, 1, 2, sharp as a gavel. She lifted Malik's paper between two fingers like it might stain her. "Mr. Carter, stay," she said, loud enough for the room to hush. "Everyone else can go." Kids slowed anyway, pretending to tie shoes, to check their phones. Malik felt their eyes on his back like heat lamps. Ms. Hargrove flipped the exam and tapped his quote, perfectly cited, line and page. "Interesting," she murmured, "because this doesn't sound like you." "It's mine," Malik said. "I studied." She smiled, thin and practiced. "Of course you did." Then, softer, only for him, "I don't give the benefit of the doubt to boys like you." The school resource officer peered at her shoulder, as if the words had summoned him. Officer Klein's radio hissed. Behind him, Principal Denton lingered in the hall, arms folded, expression already tired of Malik. "Empty your pockets," Klein ordered. Malik's phone buzzed. "Mom." He reached for it. Ms. Hargrove covered the screen with her palm. "Not now." Officer Klein's hand closed around Malik's wrist, metal glinting under fluorescent light, and the first cuff opened with a quiet, hungry click. Malik's phone vibrated again, Moem flashing bright. Right as Officer Klein's hand tightened around Malik's wrist. "Answer it," Klein said, low and impatient, like Malik's life was a line holding up the whole building. Ms. Hargrove blocked the doorway with her shoulders. "He can call later. We have procedures." Malik's mouth tasted like pennies. "My mom works nights," he said. "If I don't pick up, she thinks something happened." Principal Denton stepped into view behind the officer, arms folded, eyes already bored. "Then answer and keep it brief," he said, "and watch your tone." Malik stared at him. "My tone." Klein nudged the phone closer, with a thick finger. "Speaker. Now." Malik hit, except with his thumb. "Mom." Renee Carter's voice snapped through the speaker, sharp with sleep and fear. "Malik? Why are you calling during? What's wrong?" "I'm not calling," Malik said, trying to keep his voice steady. I'm in the hallway. They're saying I cheated." There was a beat of silence, so heavy Malik could hear the fluorescent lights buzzing above him. "Who is they?" Renee asked. Ms. Hargrove leaned toward the phone, like she was the one being addressed. "This is Ms. Hargrove," she said brightly, "Malik's teacher. There's been an academic integrity concern." Renee's voice dropped into something cold. "An integrity concern is not a crime. Why is an officer touching my child?" Officer Klein's jaw flexed. "Ma'am, I'm maintaining order." "Order," Renee repeated, the word turning into a blade. Let go of his wrist. Klein glanced at Principal Denton. Denton gave a tiny shrug that felt like permission. Klein released Malik, but didn't step back. Malik rolled his wrist, skin stinging where the metal had pressed. He didn't look at the students still lingering down the hall, pretending not to stare. He could feel them staring, anyway. Renee's voice sharpened again. "Put the principal on." "I'm right here," Denton said into the phone, as if Renee should be grateful. "Ms. Carter, we're handling this according to policy." "What policy involves handcuffs?" Renee said. Denton's expression didn't change. "No one is handcuffing anyone." Malik looked at the open cuff in Klein's hand. He literally... "Malik." Denton cut in, eyes narrowing. "Don't escalate." Renee exhaled, slow. "I'm coming. Do not question him without me. Do you understand?" Denton's smile was small and corporate. "You're welcome to come to the office. We'll proceed when you arrive." Ms. Hargrove's eyes slid to Malik's exam folder, tucked under her arm like a trophy. Malik wanted to snatch it back, wanted to scream that he'd done nothing wrong, that his quotes had been earned in late nights and highlighted pages, not stolen. Instead, his throat tightened until words felt dangerous. Officer Klein gestured down the hall. "Walk." Malik followed, his shoes squeaking on the wax floor. Every step felt like stepping into someone else's story about him. In the glass of the trophy case, his reflection looked too tall, too tense, too aware of his own hands. In the main office, the secretary's eyes widened, then slid away. Denton pointed to a chair outside his door. "Sit," he said. Malik sat. Klein stayed standing, arms crossed, radio hissing softly. The sound made Malik's chest tighten. Ms. Hargrove entered Denton's office without knocking, like the room belonged to her. Through the half-open door, Malik heard papers sliding, the click of a stapler. Minutes dragged. Students passed the office window in clusters, laughing about weekend plans, about nothing. Malik tried to breathe like Miss Alvarez, the counselor, had once taught him after a panic attack sophomore year. In for 4. Hold. Out for 6. His lungs refused to obey. The front doors opened hard. Renee Carter walked in wearing her scrubs jacket over jeans, hair pulled back, eyes blazing. She didn't slow for the secretary. "Where's my son?" she demanded. Malik stood before the words finished. "I'm here." Renee reached him and cupped his face with both hands like she had to check he was still real. "Are you okay?" she asked, quieter now. Malik's voice cracked. "They tried to cuff me." Renee's gaze snapped to Officer Klein. "You put your hands on him?" Klein lifted a palm. "Ma'am, it was precautionary." "Precautionary for what?" Renee said. "For a test." Denton opened his office door wider. "Ms. Carter, come in." Renee stepped in first, Malik at her shoulder. Ms. Hargrove sat primly in a chair, Malik's exam folder on her lap. Her lipstick was perfect. Her eyes weren't. Denton folded his hands on the desk. "We have a situation." Ms. Hargrove believes Malik's responses demonstrate outside assistance. Malik stared at him. "Because I use sources," he said, "on a history exam." Ms. Hargrove sighed, delicate. "It's not just sources. It's phrasing. The sophistication is inconsistent." Renee's eyes narrowed. "Inconsistent with what?" "With his usual level." Ms. Hargrove said, as if reading from a script she'd memorized. Malik felt heat rise up his neck. "My usual level is an A," he said. "I'm an AP. Malik." Denton warned again, like Malik's voice was the problem. Renee didn't look away from Ms. Hargrove. "Say what you mean," she said, "because it sounds like you're saying my son couldn't possibly write well unless he cheated." Ms. Hargrove's smile didn't reach her eyes. "I'm saying I have professional concerns." Renee leaned forward. "Then show evidence." Denton slid a form across the desk. The top line read Academic Integrity Report. "We're initiating an investigation," Denton said. "During that time, Malik will be removed from honors consideration pending outcome." Malik's stomach dropped. "Removed?" he echoed. "I need that for scholarships." "That's not our concern," Ms. Hargrove said softly. Renee's chair scraped back. "It is absolutely your concern when you're sabotaging his future with a concern and no proof." Denton's tone stayed smooth. "Ms. Carter, lower your voice." Renee's laugh was bitter. "My voice isn't the issue." Malik looked at the form, the blank lines waiting for signatures like traps. "So what happens?" he asked. "If you decide I'm guilty?" Denton didn't blink. "You could receive a failing grade for the exam, lose AP credit eligibility, and face disciplinary consequences for dishonesty." Renee put a hand on the report, flat, stopping it from sliding closer. "He's not signing anything today." Denton's eyes flicked to Klein, then back. "Refusal to cooperate can be noted." Renee met his gaze. "Note it. And also note this. I want copies of everything. The report, the rubric, the exam packet, any emails, any footage. Today." Denton's smile thinned. "We'll provide records in accordance with district timelines." Renee nodded slowly, like she'd expected that. "Then we'll do this the formal way." Ms. Hargrove's fingers tightened on the folder. Malik saw it, just a flash, like fear. As Renee guided Malik toward the door, Jasmine Reed stood in the hallway, eyes wide, phone clutched in her hand. Behind her, Ethan Price hovered near the water fountain, pale and shaking. Jasmine whispered, "Malik, I'm so sorry." Ethan swallowed hard, then spoke like the words hurt coming out. "I saw something," he said, "about that test." Malik's heart stuttered. "What did you see?" Ethan glanced toward Denton's office, then back at Malik, voice dropping. "Not here," he said. "Someone's listening." And through the office doorway, Malik heard the soft, steady hiss of Officer Klein's radio, like a warning that never turned off. In-school suspension was quieter than Malik expected. Not peaceful, just hollow. The room smelled like pencil shavings and disinfectant, desk space far enough apart to make eye contact feel illegal. A poster on the wall read accountability builds character in peeling blue letters. Malik sat at the desk closest to the door, a laminated hall pass already clipped to his shirt like a warning label. The monitor, Mr. Ellison, slid a worksheet toward him without looking up. "Sign in. No talking." Malik signed his name. The pen trembled. "I didn't do anything," he said anyway, because silence felt like agreement. Mr. Ellison finally looked at him. His eyes were tired, not cruel. "I'm not here to decide that," he said. "I'm here to follow protocol." That word again. Across the room, a sophomore tapped a pencil against his knee, rhythm frantic. Malik wondered what story had landed him here. He wondered what story had already been written about himself. At lunch, Malik was escorted to the cafeteria 5 minutes early. Officer Klein leaned against the wall by the milk coolers, pretending to scroll through his phone. Malik kept his eyes forward, tray shaking as he poured water instead of juice. "Carter," Klein said casually, "you need anything?" Malik shook his head. "Good," Klein said. "Stay out of trouble." Trouble, Malik thought, was apparently a place you could fall into without moving. Jasmine found him after school by the bike racks. She didn't hug him. She hovered, like touching him might make things worse. "They put you in ISS?" she asked. "Yeah. That's messed up." Malik shrugged. "It's temporary. Pending investigation." Jasmine made air quotes so aggressive they were almost violent. "They did that to my cousin," she said. "Different school, same script. They say it's neutral, but somehow it always lands the same way." Malik leaned his bike against the rack, hand still unsteady. "They keep saying policy like it explains everything." "It explains nothing," Jasmine said. "It hides everything." She pulled out her phone. "I started writing stuff down. Dates. Who said what? My mom says documentation is power." Malik laughed once, sharp. "Your mom's smart." "She has to be," Jasmine said. "So, do you?" At home, the apartment felt smaller than usual. Renee sat at the kitchen table with a legal pad, her work badge still clipped to her pocket. She'd drawn boxes and arrows, like she was mapping an escape route. "They emailed," she said without looking up. "Said the investigation could take several weeks." Several weeks. Malik dropped his backpack. "College deadlines are in 2. Renee finally met his eyes. "That's not an accident." Malik sank into the chair across from her. "Ms. Hargrove won't even look at me now." In the hallway, she moved her bag like I was going to steal it. Renee's jaw tightened. "That's how it works. First they make you suspect. Then they make everyone else comfortable treating you that way. So what do we do?" Renee slid the legal pad toward him. At the top, she'd written requests in block letters. "We ask for everything," she said. "Records, rubrics, emails, camera footage. And we don't let them rush you into a confession disguised as cooperation." Malik nodded, though fear crawled up his spine anyway. "They said refusing to sign gets noted." Renee snorted. "Everything gets noted. The question is by who?" The next day, Ms. Alvarez, the counselor, asked Malik to come in during third period. Her office smelled like peppermint tea and old books. "I'm glad you came," she said gently. "I wanted to check in." Malik sat, hands clasped. "Am I in trouble for being here?" "No," she said quickly. "This is support." He almost laughed. Ms. Alvarez folded her hands. "I can't comment on the investigation," she said. "But I want you to know that your academic record speaks for itself." "That's not what Ms. Hargrove said." Ms. Alvarez hesitated. Sometimes excellence is read differently depending on who it comes from. There it was. Not named, but unmistakable. Will you say that in the meeting? Malik asked. Ms. Alvarez's eyes flicked to the door. I'll say what I'm allowed to say. Allowed. Another invisible fence. By Friday, Malik noticed the changes stacking up like paper cuts. His English essay came back with more red ink than usual. A teacher he'd joked with for years stopped joking. The librarian asked for his ID when she never had before. In the hallway, two juniors whispered as he passed. That's him, one said. The cheating kid. Malik kept walking. That night, his phone buzzed with an unfamiliar number. He stared at it until it buzzed again. Hello? Malik Carter? A woman asked. Yes. My name is Asha Brooks, she said. I'm a civil rights attorney. Your mother reached out. Malik closed his eyes. Relief and fear tangled together. Okay. I want you to understand something, Asha continued. What's happening to you isn't random. Schools call it discipline. I call it narrative control. Malik swallowed. Can we win? There was a pause, not discouraging, just honest. We can fight, Asha said. And sometimes, fighting changes things even when winning takes time. After the call, Malik sat on his bed staring at the ceiling. He thought about Ms. Hargrove's smile, about Officer Klein's radio, about the word protocol stretched thin over everything like plastic wrap. Somewhere between fear and resolve, a decision settled in his chest. They could keep their story. He was done being silent in it. Jasmine waited until the bus pulled away before she spoke. I have something, she said. They stood on the cracked sidewalk outside Malik's apartment complex, the late afternoon sun flattening everything into harsh lines. Malik shifted his backpack higher on his shoulder. What kind of something? Jasmine glanced around, then held up her phone. I record lectures sometimes. Just audio. Helps me study. Malik's pulse kicked up. You recorded that day? Not all of it, she said quickly. I didn't think. I wasn't trying to. She exhaled. But I caught the part where she starts asking you questions. Her tone, the way she kept saying, be honest. Malik stared at the phone like it might explode. Does it prove anything? It proves how she talks to you, Jasmine said, and how she doesn't talk to everyone else. That night, Malik sat on his bed with headphones pressed tight, replaying the audio. Ms. Hargrove's voice floated out, clipped and cool. Malik, where did you get that phrasing? A pause. His own voice, smaller than he remembered. From the reading. Which reading? The textbook, Chapter 7. Another pause. Paper rustling. Emma, I'm interesting. Jasmine had been right. It wasn't a confession. It wasn't proof. But it was something else. Pressure, suspicion, the way a question can be shaped like a trap. Renee listened with her arms crossed. When the clip ended, she shook her head slowly. She decided before she asked. Malik pulled off the headphones. Is it enough? Renee didn't answer right away. It's a piece, she said. Not the whole thing. The next piece came from Ethan Price. They met at the public library, sitting at opposite ends of a long wooden table like they were afraid of being overheard by the books. Ethan kept rubbing his palms against his jeans. I almost didn't come, he said. Thank you for coming anyway, Malik said. Ethan nodded, swallowing. I sit by the door in Hargrove's class. After the exam, she collected the packets and said she needed to make copies. She left with them. Malik's chest tightened. She told us she'd already made copies. That's what I thought was weird, Ethan said. She came back like 10 minutes later. The stack looked different, thicker. I don't know. I might be wrong. You're not, Malik said, though he didn't know that for sure. He just knew the shape of truth when it leaned toward him. Ethan's voice dropped. I didn't say anything because I didn't want trouble. But then I saw what happened to you. And I thought, if I don't say this, I'm part of it. Malik felt something loosen in his chest. I won't put your name out there without asking, he said. Ethan nodded, relief flickering across his face. Okay. Asha Brooks joined them by phone later that night, her voice calm and precise. Malik paced his room while Renee sat on the edge of the bed, listening. This is how these cases usually go, Asha said. Circumstantial evidence. Pattern building. Institutions rely on isolation, each incident treated like it stands alone. So we connect them, Malik said. Yes, Asha replied. But carefully. You're still a student. Retaliation is real. As if summoned by the word, Malik's phone buzzed with a school email. Reminder. Failure to comply with investigative procedures may result in additional disciplinary action. Malik laughed, short and humorless. They're threatening me again. Asha didn't sound surprised. Document it. Screenshot. Forward. Renee spoke up. What about going public? There was a pause on the line. That's a lever, Asha said. Once you pull it, you can't put it back. Malik stopped pacing. They're already telling a story about me. Yes, Asha said, but public stories invite public scrutiny. That can protect you or paint a target. After the call, Malik lay awake staring at the ceiling fan, watching it cut the dark into pieces. He thought about college essays asking for resilience, for overcoming obstacles. He thought about how wrong it felt to turn this into a lesson. The next day at school, Ms. Hargrove returned his stare for the first time. Her smile was polite, sharp around the edges. Mr. Carter, she said, blocking his path. I hope you're reflecting. On what? Malik asked. On honesty, she said. It tends to reveal itself. Malik leaned closer than he meant to. So does bias. Her smile froze. Careful, she said softly. That kind of accusation can follow you. He watched her walk away, heels clicking like punctuation marks. At lunch, Jasmine slid into the seat across from him. My aunt works in media, she whispered. Education beat. I didn't tell her everything, just that something's wrong. Malik's stomach flipped. Jazz. I know, she said. I know. I won't do anything without you. But what if this isn't just about you? He looked around the cafeteria, at the clusters of students sorted by invisible lines. He thought of Ethan's shaking hands, of Ms. Alvarez's careful words. Okay, he said finally, but we do it right. That evening, Asha filed a formal complaint. Pages and pages of language that tried to pin truth to paper. The district responded within the hour. We have received your submission. Please note that review timelines may extend due to the complexity of the matter. Malik read it twice. Complexity, he said. Funny word for delay. Renee squeezed his shoulder. They're hoping you'll get tired. Malik looked at Jasmine's recording, at Ethan's text saying I'm with you, at the email blinking on his screen. I'm not, he said, and for the first time since the hallway outside room 214, he believed it. The conference room smelled like lemon cleaner and old carpet, beige walls, beige blinds, a district seal mounted slightly crooked, like even authority got tired of standing straight. Malik sat between his mother and an empty chair that felt intentional. Across the table, Principal Denton folded his hands. Ms. Hargrove sat to his right. Posture perfect, a legal pad neatly aligned with the table edge. At the far end, a district representative Malik had never seen before adjusted her glasses and smiled like this was all a misunderstanding waiting to be resolved. Thank you for coming, the representative said. I'm Ms. Palmer, Director of Student Services. Renee nodded once. Malik said nothing. Ms. Palmer continued. This meeting is informal. Our goal is clarity. Malik almost laughed. Informal, with 3 administrators and a recorder blinking red in the corner. Denton gestured toward Malik. We're here to discuss the academic integrity concern raised by Ms. Hargrove. Ms. Hargrove clasped her hands. This isn't personal, she began. It's about maintaining standards. Malik leaned forward. Standards for who? Renee put a hand on his arm, not to stop him, but to steady him. Ms. Palmer smiled tighter. Let's allow Ms. Hargrove to finish. Ms. Hargrove nodded gratefully. When I reviewed Malik's exam, I noticed advanced language and analysis inconsistent with his prior submissions. Malik's chest tightened. My essays have always been strong. Strong, yes, Ms. Hargrove said, but this was elevated. Renee tilted her head. Elevated is not evidence. Ms. Palmer interjected. Professional judgment is part of assessment. So is bias, Malik said. The word landed heavy. Denton shifted in his chair. Ms. Hargrove's voice cooled. That's a serious accusation. So is cheating, Malik shot back. Renee squeezed his arm again, firmer now. What evidence do you have? She asked. Ms. Hargrove slid the exam packet onto the table like a playing card. The responses, the citations, the phrasing. Renee didn't touch it. Any plagiarism software flags? No, Ms. Hargrove admitted. Any witness statements? Renee pressed. No. Any prior integrity issues in Malik's record? Denton cleared his throat. No, but... So nothing, Renee said calmly, except your feeling. Ms. Palmer leaned forward. Ms. Carter, we need to maintain a respectful tone. Renee met her gaze. Respect is not silence. Malik felt his heart pounding in his ears. He glanced at the empty chair beside him, wishing Asha Brooks were there, wishing the air didn't feel so stacked against him. Ms. Hargrove straightened. I've taught for 20 years, she said. I know when something doesn't add up. Malik couldn't stop himself. Maybe it doesn't add up because you decided what I'm capable of before you read it. The room went quiet. Denton's voice sharpened. Malik, you need to be careful. With what? Malik said, telling the truth? Ms. Palmer raised a hand. Let's refocus. Malik, can you explain your preparation process for the exam? Malik inhaled. I read the chapters, took notes, watched the documentary you recommended, cross-referenced the primary sources. Ms. Hargrove cut in. That documentary wasn't assigned. I know, Malik said. You said it was optional enrichment. Ms. Hargrove paused. Just a flicker. Renee caught it. Optional enrichment is now suspicious. Ms. Palmer wrote something down. Let's keep moving. Malik felt it then, not just frustration, but clarity. They weren't listening to understand. They were listening to control the frame. Renee leaned forward. We've submitted a formal complaint, she said. We're requesting all records related to this allegation. Ms. Palmer nodded. That will be processed. And, Renee added, we're requesting preservation of all materials. Emails, notes, surveillance footage. Denton stiffened. That's not necessary at this stage. Renee's voice didn't rise. It is as if evidence disappears. Ms. Hargrove's pen stopped moving. Ms. Palmer hesitated. We'll note the request. Malik spoke carefully. Am I still barred from honors consideration? Denton folded his hands tighter. Pending investigation, yes. So I'm punished before you decide anything, Malik said. It's precautionary, Denton replied. Malik swallowed. Precaution for who? No one answered. The recorder hummed softly. Ms. Palmer closed her folder. We'll continue our review and notify you of next steps. Renee stood. We expect transparency. Ms. Hargrove stood too, her smile returning like armor. I hope this can be resolved constructively. Malik met her eyes. Me too. In the hallway outside, Renee exhaled hard, like she'd been holding her breath the entire time. They're counting on you being intimidated, she said. I was, Malik admitted, at first. She looked at him, and now. Malik glanced back at the closed conference room door, at the seal on the wall, at the place where decisions about his life were being made without him. Now I'm paying attention, he said. As they walked away, Malik felt again that strange mix of fear and resolve. The meeting hadn't cleared his name, but it had done something else. It had shown him exactly what he was up against. Pressure didn't arrive all at once. It seeped in. On Monday morning, Malik's locker wouldn't open on the first try. When it finally did, his college prep club application, submitted weeks ago, was gone. He stood there staring at the empty metal shelf until a teacher cleared her throat behind him. Move along, Malik, she said too loudly. You're blocking traffic. Traffic, like he was an obstacle. In English, his essay came back with a B circled in red. The comments were neat and bloodless. Good ideas, but unclear voice. Watch tone. Malik flipped back to the previous essay, An A with strong, confident voice written in the margin. Same teacher, same voice, different week. He raised his hand. Can I ask about the grade? The teacher didn't look at him. After class. After class. She stacked papers instead of meeting his eyes. You've been under a lot of scrutiny, she said. It's important to be careful. Careful how? Malik asked. With presentation, she said. Perception matters. Perception. Another word that did too much work. At lunch, Jasmine slid into the seat beside him, jaw tight. They pulled me out of chem, she whispered. For what? She mimicked air quotes. Disrupting school culture. Malik felt heat rise in his chest. Because you helped me? They didn't say that. Jasmine said. They never say the real thing. Across the cafeteria, Officer Klein leaned against the wall, arms folded, eyes drifting toward Malik and then away again. Not watching, just reminding. Malik pushed his tray away. I can't breathe in here. They left early, walking the long way around the building where the cameras thinned. Jasmine kicked a rock hard enough to send it skittering across the pavement. This is retaliation, she said. Malik nodded. The quiet kind. That night, Renee came home later than usual, shoulders sagging. She dropped her bag by the door and sat heavily at the table. They called my supervisor, she said. Malik froze. Who did? The district, Renee replied. Asked about my availability. Framed it like concern. Malik's hands clenched. That's not okay. No, Renee agreed, but it's calculated. They want me tired, distracted. Malik stared at the table. This is my fault. Renee's head snapped up. No, if I just... No, she repeated, sharper now. This is what happens when you refuse to carry their lie quietly. He nodded, but guilt still pressed heavy on his chest. Later, Malik overheard his little brother, Jordan, on the phone with a friend. My brother's in trouble, Jordan said. No, he didn't get arrested or anything. It's school stuff. Malik stood in the hallway, heart sinking. School stuff, like it was small, like it didn't follow you. The next day, Asha Brooks called during study hall. They're escalating, Malik said as soon as he answered. Yes, Asha replied calmly. That usually means they're nervous. They're messing with my grades, with my mom's job. I know, Asha said, and that's why I need you to decide something. Malik leaned back against the library wall. What? A reporter reached out to me, she said. Local education beat. She's heard rumors. Malik closed his eyes. Already? This is the moment, Asha continued. If we stay quiet, they'll keep squeezing. If we go public, the pressure shifts. And if it backfires? Malik asked. It might, Asha said honestly. Public opinion is not justice. But attention can create accountability where private complaints stall. Malik thought of Officer Klein's smile, of Ms. Hargrove's certainty, of the empty locker shelf. I don't want to be a headline, he said. I know, Asha replied, but you're already a file. That afternoon, Malik was called to the main office again. This time, the secretary didn't even pretend to be friendly. Sign in, she said. Sit. Denton emerged a few minutes later. We'd had concerns about your behavior, he said, walking as he talked. You've been confrontational. Malik stopped. I've asked questions. Questions could be confrontational, Denton said, depending on tone. They reached the office. Ms. Hargrove was already there, lips pressed together. We expect cooperation, Denton said, not theatrics. Malik's voice shook despite his effort. Is asking for fairness theatrics now? Ms. Hargrove tilted her head. You're very emotional. The word landed like a diagnosis. Malik laughed once, bitter. You accused me of cheating in front of my class and had a cop grab me. Ms. Hargrove's eyes hardened. I followed procedure. Your procedure, Malik said, keeps following me. Denton's voice dropped. Careful, Malik. Malik met his gaze. I am being careful. That evening, Jasmine texted him a link. You need to see this. It was a message request from an unfamiliar account. I heard what happened to you. Same thing happened to me 2 years ago. Different teacher. Same words. Malik stared at the screen, heart pounding. Another message came in. They said I didn't fit honors. I stopped fighting. I still think about it. Malik sat down hard on his bed. Renee knocked softly and came in. You okay? Malik turned the phone toward her. I think I'm not the first. Renee read the messages, her face tightening. Not with anger this time, but recognition. They count on that, she said quietly. On each of you thinking you're alone. Malik looked at the screen, at the word same thing, over and over. Pressure had been squeezing him from all sides. Now it was shaping something else. Resolve. He typed back, hands steady for first time all day. I'm still fighting, he wrote. If you want, you don't have to be alone anymore. The camera light blinked red. Malik focused on it, because if he didn't, he might focus on his hands, shaking in his lap. Whenever you're ready, the reporter said gently. Her name was Lena Whitfield. She sat across from him in a small studio that smelled faintly of coffee and dust, notepad balanced on her knee. A producer hovered near the soundboard, adjusting levels, eyes careful. Malik swallowed. Okay, tell me what happened, Lena said. He started where it made sense to him, not with the accusation, but with the studying, the late nights, the way history made sense when you trace patterns instead of dates. He talked about walking into room 214, expecting a normal day. And then, Lena prompted. And then, Malik said, voice tightening, I was told my work didn't sound like me. Renee sat just off camera, hands clasped together so tightly her knuckles were pale. Jasmine sat beside her, jaw set. Lena didn't interrupt when Malik paused. She let the silence stretch, let it do its work. They brought in a police officer, Malik continued, in front of everyone, over a test. The producer's eyes flicked up. Did anyone explain why that was necessary? Lena asked. No, Malik said. They just kept saying protocol. The words sounded smaller out loud, emptier. When the segment aired that evening, Malik watched it from the couch with his family. His brother Jordan sat cross-legged on the floor, unusually quiet. The screen showed the school building first. Brick, flags, normal. Then Malik's face, blurred just enough to protect him, but not enough to hide the fear in his eyes. This isn't about one teacher, Malik said on screen. It's about what happens when authority decides who gets the benefit of the doubt. The clip ended abruptly, cutting to the anchor's serious nod. Renee exhaled. That's it, she said. It's out. Malik's phone buzzed immediately. Texts, unknown numbers, Instagram messages, emails. I'm proud of you. This happened to my son. Why are you trying to ruin a teacher's career? Stay strong. Malik turned the phone face down, chest tight. I didn't think it would be this fast. That's how stories work now, Jasmine said. They don't knock. At school the next morning, the air felt electric. Whispers followed Malik down the hall, like a second shadow. That's him. He was on the news. Cheater or hero? A senior slapped Malik's shoulder in passing. Respect, man. Someone else muttered, attention-seeking. Ms. Hargrove didn't look at him at all. The district's response came before third period. The school district is aware of the media coverage regarding an ongoing matter. We remain committed to student privacy and a thorough review process. Malik read it twice. They didn't deny anything. They rarely do, Asha said later, voice crisp over speakerphone. They reframe. By lunchtime, the story had been shared hundreds of times. Comment sections bloomed like bruises. Support, denial, whataboutism. Ms. Alvarez found Malik in the hallway near the counseling office. Are you okay? She asked quietly. I don't know, Malik admitted. She nodded. I sad. The attention can be heavy, but it also creates witnesses. That afternoon, Asha forwarded Malik an email chain obtained through a records request. Names redacted, dates intact. 3 years, 5 complaints, different students, similar language. Did not demonstrate expected integrity. Concerns about fit for advanced coursework. Behavior during questioning was evasive. Malik stared at the screen. They said these were individual incidents. They always do, Asha replied, until someone lines them up. Another message came in, this one from Ethan. I'm ready to say what I saw. Officially, Malik's throat tightened. Thank you, he typed back. No matter what happens. The next day, Officer Klein stopped Malik near the stairwell. Busy week, Klein said lightly. Malik held his gaze. Yeah. Media can make things messy, Klein continued. Sometimes it's better to let professionals handle it. Malik's voice was steady. I am. Klein smiled thinly. Just saying. That afternoon, Lena called again. We're doing a follow-up, she said. The district expedited the investigation. Renee scoffed when Malik told her. Funny how complexity clears up under spotlight. Asha's tone was cautious, but hopeful. This is movement, she said, not resolution. By Friday, the district announced a formal hearing date. Emails went out to staff reminding them of professional conduct and non-retaliation policies. Jasmine waved her phone at Malik in the hallway. Too late, she said. Everyone's already picked sides. Malik leaned against the lockers, exhaustion settling deep in his bones. I didn't want this. I know, Jasmine said, but wanting has nothing to do with justice. That night, Malik lay awake replaying the interview in his head. His own voice sounded older than he felt. He thought about the messages from former students, about how close he'd come to staying quiet. Outside his window, a police siren wailed and faded. Malik turned onto his side, heart heavy but clear. The story had broken. Now the truth would have to keep up. They met in the basement of a community center on the east side, the kind with folding chairs and mismatched posters taped to cinder block walls. Malik recognized the space from voter registration, drives his mom used to drag him to when he was younger. It felt strange to be here for himself. There were 6 of them in total. 6 stories. One pattern. Asha Brooks stood near a whiteboard, sleeves rolled up, marker uncapped. Thank you for coming, she said. I know it's not easy to revisit this. A girl with braids pulled tight against her scalp spoke first. They said I was aggressive when I asked why my grade dropped. She said, I was a sophomore, honors bio. After that meeting, they moved me out. A tall boy in a hoodie nodded. They told me I didn't fit the culture of AP Lit, he said, that my writing was confrontational. Malik felt his chest tighten. Same words, different years. One by one, they spoke. A math prodigy advised to consider less demanding coursework. A debate kid written up for tone. A quiet girl whose recommendation letter never got sent. No slurs. No shouting. Just doors closing softly. They always made it sound reasonable, the girl with braids said. Like it was my fault for misunderstanding. Malik finally spoke. Did any of you file complaints? A few shook their heads. One laughed bitterly. Against who? He said. The school. Renee sat in the back, arms crossed, eyes shining with something close to grief. Not just for Malik, but for all the time lost before someone said out loud. Asha turned to the board and began writing. Language, process, outcome. This is what systems rely on, she said. Consistency in method, inconsistency in accountability. Malik swallowed. So it's not just Ms. Hargrove. No, Asha said carefully. But she's a node, and nodes matter. After the meeting, Malik lingered in the hallway while the others exchanged numbers. Quiet promises forming where silence had been. You did something, the tall boy said to Malik as he passed. Even if it doesn't fix everything. Malik nodded, unsure what to say. The next morning, Ms. Alvarez stopped Malik outside the counseling office. Her voice was low. I need be careful, she said, but I also need be honest. Malik waited. There's hallway footage from the day of the exam, she said. Near room 214. His pulse jumped. They told us there wasn't any relevant video. Ms. Alvarez's mouth tightened. They didn't say that to me. Malik's hands went cold. Can it be erased? She met his eyes. Only if no one asked the right question in time. Asha didn't wait. Within the hour, She sent a preservation notice so formal and sharp it felt like a weapon. By evening, the district confirmed receipt. By morning, they announced the hearing would be open to limited observers. Damage control, Renee said, reading the email aloud. They think transparency now will soften what comes out later. Malik sat on his bed, staring at his notes. Not flashcards, testimony. Dates, words, feelings translated into facts. What if I freeze? He asked quietly. Renee sat beside him. Then you breathe, she said. And you remember you're not on trial for existing. At school, the atmosphere shifted again. Teachers smiled too much. Emails arrived reminding staff of implicit bias training resources. Ms. Hargrove avoided Malik entirely. Officer Klein, however, lingered closer than ever, by the lockers, near the exits, watching. You ready for your big moment? He asked one afternoon. Malik didn't look away. I've been ready. Klein's smile didn't reach his eyes. Just remember, stories can change. So can records, Malik said. That night, Malik stood in front of the bathroom mirror practicing answers. His reflection looked tired, older. Speak clearly, he told himself. Don't rush. He thought about Ethan, about the way his voice had shaken when he first spoke up, about Jasmine, fielding side eyes and rumors without backing down. He thought about the basement room, about 6 stories lining up like evidence that refused to stay buried. When he lay down, sleep came in pieces. In one dream, the hallway camera blinked red, and then went dark. In another, it stayed on. The morning of a hearing arrived gray and heavy. Malik dressed slowly, choosing his hoodie, then changing his mind and pulling on a button-down instead. Renee watched him from the doorway. However this goes, she said, I'm proud of you. Malik nodded, throat tight. I'm scared. I know, she said. That means you understand what's at stake. As they left the apartment, Malik's phone buzzed. A message from Ethan. I'll be there. Malik closed his eyes for a moment, then stepped into the hallway. This wasn't just a story anymore. It was a pattern, and patterns once seen were hard to unsee. The hearing room smelled like disinfectant and polished wood, a different kind of sterile than the conference room. There were chairs lined up for observers, a small table at the front for the student, and a larger table where Ms. Hargrove, Principal Denton, and the district panel sat, papers stacked like barricades. Malik and Renee sat together at the student table. Asha Brooks rested beside them, folder open, pen poised. Malik's fingers drummed against the table edge, the rhythm of his nerves. Let's begin, the board chair said. Her gavel barely tapped once, but the sound made Malik's stomach tighten. A murmur went through the audience. A few students peeked from the back rows. One whispered, "That's him." Malik focused on the table in front of him, visualizing each fact as a brick, solid, unmovable. Asha started. We are here to review an allegation of academic dishonesty against Mr. Malik Carter, a student in AP U.S. History. We request consideration of all evidence, including witness statements, recordings, and hallway surveillance. The board nodded. Ms. Palmer jotted notes. Denton cleared his throat, lips tight. Ms. Hargrove's voice was measured. I maintain that the exam responses were inconsistent with Mr. Carter's previous work. My professional judgment raises concerns. Malik inhaled. I prepared the way I always do, he said, voice steady. I studied the text, cross-referenced sources, and wrote the responses myself. I did not cheat. Ms. Hargrove's lips pressed into a thin line. Your phrasing suggests outside assistance. Malik's throat tightened. Or growth, he said softly. I am capable of learning and expressing complex ideas. Asha stepped forward. We have recordings from the classroom and testimony from a witness, Ethan Price, who observed Ms. Hargrove handle the exam packet in a way that calls the claim of cheating into question. The board murmured. Ms. Palmer adjusted her glasses. Denton leaned back, hands sliding over the table. Malik's pulse raced. A grainy hallway camera feed played on a screen behind the board. Timestamps blinked in red. He watched as Ms. Hargrove collected the exams, stepped into the hall, returned to classroom. One packet, his, appeared different. The edges shifted. The movement was small, almost imperceptible, but undeniable. He caught Miss Hargrove's eyes. For the first time, she looked caught, fragile behind her polished mask. Asha continued, "We have documented a pattern. Past complaints from students, others like Malik, who were questioned or disciplined under similar circumstances. These records show a systemic issue with how students of color are evaluated." Ms. Hargrove's fingers flexed. Denton's jaw tightened. The room hummed with tension, so quiet it pressed on Malik's chest. A board member finally spoke. "Ms. Hargrove, can you respond to the evidence showing handling of the exam in these prior cases?" She hesitated. Procedures were followed. Every decision made. Malik interrupted, voice firm. "Procedures can be followed and still be unfair." The room paused. Silence stretched thin, taut. Ms. Hargrove's composure faltered. I was concerned about standards." "So were they concerned about students?" Malik said. "Or just about appearances?" Denton shifted uncomfortably. Ms. Palmer's pen hovered over a blank page. Asha concluded, "The evidence shows that Mr. Carter's work was mischaracterized, that bias affected interpretation, and that institutional patterns contributed to the accusation." The board conferred quietly, whispers under their breath. Malik felt the weight in the room shift, slow but undeniable. Finally, the chair spoke. After reviewing the evidence, including witness statements, recordings, and procedural documentation, the panel finds that there is insufficient evidence to support the allegation of academic dishonesty against Mr. Malik Carter. Malik's chest loosened slightly, but it didn't leap to relief. He had been under scrutiny for weeks, his life mapped and measured. The chair continued. Further, the district will review teacher conduct in handling student assessments and implement additional oversight to prevent bias. Ms. Hargrove rose, face pale but controlled. "I disagree with this assessment," she said, voice low, "but I will comply with district policy." Malik exhaled slowly. His hands rested on the table, shaking a little less than they had at the start. Renee's hand found his, squeezing firmly. Asha whispered, "You did it." Malik nodded, though his voice wouldn't come. He thought of Jasmine, Ethan, the students in the basement. This was not just his victory. It was acknowledgement for them all. The room emptied slowly. Students trickled out, some whispering congratulations, others staring blankly at the empty board chairs. Malik passed Officer Klein near the exit. The officer's posture relaxed slightly. Malik didn't smile. He didn't need to. Outside, the sun hit the school brick with a late afternoon glare. Malik and Renee walked to the car, their steps steady. For the first time in weeks, the air felt lighter, though not unburdened. "That was intense," Malik said quietly. Renee nodded. "Justice rarely is easy or painless." Malik's gaze lingered on the school doors behind them. He thought of the cameras, the recordings, the whispers, the system designed to crush confidence and ambition. "I'm not the same kid who walked in here weeks ago," he said. "No," Renee agreed. "And that's okay." Malik took a deep breath, feeling the cool wind brush his face. He had survived scrutiny, bias, and intimidation, but the echo of it would remain, less as a wound now, more as a map of what needed attention. He looked at Asha's folder on the passenger seat, bulging with papers, evidence, emails. They had exposed patterns. They had forced accountability. And Malik had found a voice. He wasn't done fighting, but for now, he could walk out of that room standing tall, even if tall came with scars. The school behind him, a place that had tried to define him in fear and suspicion, now felt smaller. Not because it had changed, but because Malik had changed. And that difference could never be taken away. Weeks later, the consequences unfolded quietly but relentlessly, like sunlight through a crack in the blinds. The district didn't make announcements in hallways, but word traveled fast through staff emails and union whispers. Ms. Hargrove was placed on administrative leave. The official memo cited professional misconduct and failure to adhere to district equity standards. She didn't cry, didn't yell. Her perfect posture betrayed only fatigue. Teachers whispered that her career would never recover. Principal Denton resigned under pressure. The board cited ineffective oversight and failure to ensure unbiased student evaluation. His goodbye email was sterile, polite, devoid of explanation or apology. But for Malik, it didn't matter. He had seen the system bend, and at last, the weight of injustice shifted. The district implemented mandatory equity workshops for teachers and staff, new protocols for handling complaints, and an external review committee to audit disciplinary actions in advanced programs. No one claimed the changes would fix every problem, but they created a record, a paper trail that could protect future students. Malik sat in the library one afternoon, headphones on, revising an essay. His fingers hovered over the keyboard as he thought about the AP U.S. history exam, about Ms. Hargrove's thin smile, about Officer Klein's radio hiss. The fear still lingered, a faint echo in his chest, but it no longer defined him. Jasmine slid into the chair across from him. "I can't believe they're finally gone," she said. "It's surreal." "They didn't go quietly," Malik said, "but I guess that's justice." Jasmine frowned. "Justice doesn't always feel good." "Not yet," Malik admitted, "but it's something." Renee called that evening. "Scholarship reinstated," she said. "College applications cleared. All honors credits restored." Malik closed his eyes, letting relief wash over him. But even relief felt tempered. Months of fear, humiliation, and self-doubt couldn't vanish overnight. The scars remained. Every hallway, every authority figure, every policy he had navigated now carried memory. Yet, in those same hallways, something had changed. Teachers hesitated before speaking over him. Administrators weighed their words more carefully. Students who had whispered behind his back now looked to him differently. Not with pity, but with respect. Evidence had reshaped perception. One day, Malik stood in the honors hallway, surrounded by younger students preparing for AP classes. He remembered how invisible those voices had been, how silenced. "Listen," he said, voice steady. "You may face teachers, administrators, or policies that seem unfair. You may be questioned, doubted, or pushed aside. But your work, your effort, your integrity, they matter more than their assumptions." He paused, scanning their eyes, young and wary. "If you see injustice, document it. Speak up. You're not alone." A hand went up. "What if we're scared?" a sophomore asked. Malik met her gaze. "Then you're brave anyway. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the choice to move forward despite it." He looked down the hallway, empty now except for lockers and scattered books, imagining all the students before him. Those labeled aggressive, disruptive, or unfit. Some had never been heard. Others, like him, had forced their stories into the light. He felt the weight of the ordeal, the humiliation, the tension, the whispered doubts. Yet in the same breath, he felt a pulse of something stronger, resilience. Not revenge, not triumph over a single person, but the enduring truth that accountability was possible. Malik left the school that day with Jasmine beside him, Renee waiting in the car, and the late afternoon sun casting long shadows across the parking lot. It didn't erase what happened. It didn't erase the pain. But it made space for something else, acknowledgement, change, and a voice that refused to be silenced. As they drove away, Malik glanced at the school in the rearview mirror. It looked smaller now, not because it had shrunk, but because he had grown taller. Taller in knowledge, in courage, in awareness. He knew the fight wasn't over, not for all students. But for the first time, he felt ready to meet it. And in that readiness, Malik discovered the hardest, truest kind of justice. Not revenge, not anger, but perseverance and integrity standing firm, even when the world had tried to bend him. For him, for those who had been silenced before him, and for those who would walk those halls after him, the story had changed. And that mattered.